Music is very loud. Lower it.
Good evening. My name is Weldon Clears, and this is the first episode of The New Immigrants. With myself as host is Janice Cafasso.
Hello. Tonight we'll be dealing with Charles Stetler, who has recently become a green card member of the USA after 8 years of being an illegal alien.
Terrible, you shouldn't say that on the air.
Oh, well, why not? The truth's got to come out sooner or later. Had you managed to escape us for this amount of time?
8 years?
Yeah.
Well, you know, when I first got here, I thought I'd be staying for about 3 weeks.
Isn't that the case?
And like everybody else who comes from Europe, you figure you're going to stick around for a few weeks and then you go back home. But things turned out to be, I decided I like New York, and I came back and I got into some heavy scenes.
Like what?
Well, let's see. First of all, when we got off the boat, I came over with a friend of mine, and neither of us could speak English. So we both had about $300 with us, and we figured...
Had you managed to save up $300? What were you doing?
I used to play professional soccer in Europe. Mm-hmm. And at that time, I had long hair, lots more than now, too. And
he's letting us know one time he didn't have a receding hairline.
Oh, listen, see that? I mean, this is, right? And when we got here, we figured we're going to stick 3 weeks and then go up to Toronto and work on farms, you see, because the only way you can leave Switzerland is if you tell your folks you're going to work over here. Mm-hmm. So you can't tell you're going to go just hang out, since the Swiss are all
You couldn't say you're going on a holiday
no
like
way,
over here.
No way, no way. I mean,
Did you hope to get a position on a soccer team or something?
Oh, no, not at all. Soccer was out of the question. I just wanted to hang out. I was 20 years old and I had it, and I just wanted to go. You know, we read about the hippies in San Francisco and the rock groups, you know, and I used to have one by myself. Nobody could speak the language, so we would just, you know.
All right,
like,
what was that called? What was that about?
Reaction Blues Mob, which I never knew what it meant until about 4 years ago when I looked it up in the dictionary. You see, we do all the Elvis Presley songs, you know, but nobody could speak the language. Everybody just kind of go, one want a hand, one want a sue, one want a hand, one a ring, one I do, and the whole goddamn fucking audience would be looking around, dancing along and says, wow, and if you threw in Nixon or Vietnam every fourth song, they would think that you've been in America. You see?
Wow, you must have been like the hot item on your circuit, huh?
Yes, yes. So you see, when we got here, we told the folks that we were going to go to Toronto and we were going to become farmers, which is a very great thing to say in Switzerland, because then this way you get your visas very quickly in Bern with the American consulate, right? And
But were your family farmers?
Oh no, my family are into restaurants and things like that, which I was supposed to be part of it and study to become a baker. But
so why didn't you say you were like going to go to restaurant touring school or business courses or whatever?
Oh, because that's, you see, if you do farming, I have some family members way in the distance who do farming, and farming is a very looked up on job, you know, and if I say restaurants, my old man would say, if you want to do restaurants, why don't you stay in Switzerland, right? So I had to do farming, and when we got to New York, we decided, first night, by the way, when we got here, we slept in Central Park because we didn't know anybody, my friend and me, and then we found out the next day that 2 guys got murdered, but we didn't know, right? Because in
you
Europe,
didn't know them, right? So it didn't matter.
Right? In Europe, everybody else slept in the parks in 1969, 1970. So,
were you afraid in New York?
Was I afraid?
Yeah.
Not at all. I was thrilled to death when I got off the plane. The first word I learned in this country, it's amazing, it's a true story. We get off the plane, and we met this Algerian guy on the plane over from Strasbourg. He took, what is it called, Icelandic Airlines. It was the cheapest flight over, you know, 14 hours. Right? Hey, you got a cigarette? That's the way it used to sound in 1970. It took 14 hours, cost like $200. So when he got off the plane, I saw this old man carrying a suitcase. Being Swiss, brought up very strict and everything, you know, my first impression was to go over there and give the guy a hand. And I told my friend in French, I said, I'm going to give this man a hand. And my Algerian friend, who's already lived in New York for many years, and just went to visit his girlfriend in France, says, don't do that. I said, why not? But that time I was already close to the guy, and I picked up his suitcase. And I start walking next to him, and the guy screams from the top of his head. The first word I learned, swear to God, fuck you! And I turn around, he screamed, he was like 75 years old, and I dropped the suitcase, and my friend comes over and explains to me that these are things you don't do in New York.
You were going to just help him?
Help him walk alone, you know, like you do back home. Then I was explained that what that means is I'm going to steal the suitcase. Wow. So that was my first introduction to New York City. Second introduction to New York City is when we stopped on 42nd Street, which I was thrilled to death about. Right? I never saw more faggots and whores in one place in my entire life. It was terrific. So we went to a coffee shop, and my friend went home already, and he said to me, Meet us tonight. He gave us the address. Take the subway, FDR, F train. I said, wait a minute, subway, man? I've never seen a subway in my life. You see, Times Square Station is bigger than my hometown.
Which is what?
Steffisburg. Try to say that, right?
Hey, that's a good one, Charles.
So we got into the coffee shop and we ordered 2 cups of coffee. First I went in, I said, ein Kaffee, bitte sehr. The guy keeps walking past and going, oh. I said, Monsieur, un café, s'il vous plaît? Signor, un café, per favor. Nothing, right? Finally, down the counter come 2 cups, which since then I've gotten lots of them, you know, 'cause I just kind of threw it down, and by the time the coffee stopped in front of me, half the coffee was in the saucer. So my friend says, just for that, we're not going to tip him. We didn't have to because the guy charged us $3, right? First cup of coffee in
He
New
was
York
smarter
City.
than you thought.
Exactly. Now here we're fighting, right? We're telling $3. That time $3 was $4.40 in Swiss francs. We say, Jesus Christ, $4.40, $3.
We'll never
12
make
francs,
it
not
longer than a
possible, right?
week in New York,
Fuck,
right?
Right. So we go back, we tell the guy the story, and we told him that we slept in Central Park, and he says, you're crazy. Next day we took a plane to Toronto. In Toronto, we get to Toronto. This friend of mine had a girlfriend who studied in Switzerland at the university, whom we said that her father would have a job for us at the farm. Man, the last thing I wanted to do is go to a farm after I saw New York, and Toronto just was not even close. You know, it was clean like New York, and it bothered me, right? Because in Switzerland everything's so clean, so I kind of got off on the dirt.
Why did
and
you
all
go to
that stuff.
Toronto?
For that job, you know, that was just.
That's
just
how we got
my
out of the
conscience,
country in
just
the
my
first
conscience
place.
was to go up there, but I knew I ain't gonna be no farmer up there. Believe me.
Oh, you
Right.
just.
So my friend's in the phone booth in the airport, and he calls his friend, and I see his face go. And I said, goody, man, fantastic. He comes on and says, Charles, I don't know how to explain you this, man, but we lost the job. I says, far fucking out. And we had like $60 left, right? So he says, but the girl, Janet or something was her name, says, they're in a boarding school in Toronto. Why don't you come down to the school and say hello? Now here we are, we're 20
Now
years
that
old.
sounded
thick
good,
tits,
right?
Long hair, we look terrific. We get down to the school, there's a dormitory, there's like 300 girls in the school.
Dying for
And
you
and
guys.
Chana comes downstairs and tells my friend, my friend spoke a little bit of English, she tells him we can sneak you in as soon as it gets dark. Now, I don't have to tell you, right? About 9 o'clock at night, we're inside of a dormitory with 300 chicks. And all they, to me, sound like, right? Forget it, we're in this little room with one of the girls, there's a double bunker bed. And all these girls came in and we started talking, we had a good time, we got laid and everything like that. And I said, paradise,
7
this is
times.
America, man, fantastic, fuck farming, right? Now, Marcel says to me, my friend who came with me, he says, look, what we got to do is we got to just go home again, right? I says, no way, I'm going to go home. $60, first of all, won't buy a ticket back to America, to Switzerland. So I told him, why don't you ask the girl if they would take up a collection, tell them that my father's really ill and that we would have to go home. And 3 o'clock in the morning, they came in with 2 hats, so we had $350 in cash.
Oh, great.
So you wound up with more money than you started out with.
Yes.
Now, okay. So that gave you an inkling of how well you could do in New York, huh? So
Actually, Toronto at the time, but that was kind of like, I figured if
Yeah,
I
but
could
it
get
was-
it up there, I could do it down here.
right,
even
you were
better.
out of Switzerland and you were in the USA. Toronto not being part of the
Right.
USA, but still it was a big move, right?
Sure.
So obviously you knew the city was going to be where the
Where
green
it's at, where I
bucks
wanted
were
to get
going to
back
start
to,
to
sure.
make you roll.
That's why we went right back down.
All right, so right now you're involved in what profession?
Right now, I'm a professional mover,
Okay.
specializing in
What do you
antique
move?
pianos.
Pianos.
Anything that pays money.
Do you
Where
make
do-
a lot of money in moving?
Where do you get most of your
Yeah.
patrons? What, you know, people that
Well,
want you?
I work for a guy, I work for a company, and you know, I started working there when I came back to New York second time around. I thought I was going to work for 3 weeks like everybody else. I write scripts. I try to sell a television series. I work on a lot of different things. We invented games, toys, T-shirts. We got ripped off down the lane because I used to be stupid enough to go to lawyers and shake their hands. Instead of signing, you see, in Switzerland, you shake your hand.
Where did you get this commercial streak that seems to be running from top to toe?
I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know where that comes from. I think my whole family, they're
That's what I was going to
they're
say.
into money, but not like.
Were they very
have to-
creative, or have they ever done anything very original or very, outstanding, or that, made them step out of their bounds?
Not unless you count my father vacuum cleaning the apartment Sunday morning. That's about.
That's a
the
big
level
move
of
for most
Switzerland,
men,
right?
I know.
Did you
Right.
take any kind of schooling to like make you have this kind of confidence?
Oh, when I was playing professional soccer, the club that I played for put me through business administration for 3 years.
Why? You weren't that good a soccer player?
No, they just.
See, we better give him an alternative course, right?
I like that. I like that. All right. No, I had nothing to do with soccer.
It
You see, in
looks like he
Switzerland,
could
you're not
soccer.
allowed to be professional anything except jobs. Sports, you're only allowed to be professional if you study alongside. Okay, that's why you have to work like 2 hours a day. So they put me
Doing like what, manual labor, you mean?
No, I was staying in front of Armorin, which is a sports store, and tell them that the wooden skis that are totally out of fashion are the best thing now, and that if you can sell 50 pairs of wooden
Pouring,
skis,
in other
that's
words.
right,
Okay,
exactly.
we got it.
Right. Next question.
So then while you were here, you applied all this kind of basic knowledge from there.
I really didn't know anything. You see, I learned everything in New York. First of all, I couldn't speak the language. So the first 6 months, I was fucked everywhere I went. I spent like 8 hours at 42nd Street in the same movie theater watching the same John Wayne movies till I understood finally after like 8 hours when he
Okay.
said, hey, you.
Can I ask you why you were propelled towards 42nd Street rather than the Upper East Side mecca of movies like, say, 59th Street or 86th Street? Or,
Oh, because,
I mean, what?
because
Did
I
you
was
hear about
fascinated.
it?
Have you ever heard of a magazine called Stern in Germany?
Oh, never.
Okay, Stern is a magazine that's like Life magazine over here. They always have a nude cover for years and years and years. But it's a family magazine. And I walked down 42nd Street and I saw Stern inside of a dirty bookstore.
And
And
you
that
knew something
fascinated
was
me. I
wrong.
says, why the hell in Europe prostitution is legal? The whores pay taxes. And I went inside and I says, if they're going to sell Stern magazine in here, then obviously this is a very fucked up sexual society. And I was fascinated by it. That's why I started working for them.
Well, did you feel that you could exploit that, the inability that we seem to project, you know, about how we felt about sexuality in the city?
Well, it certainly blew my mind meeting the young girls, 1970 up in Central Park, and we could go to bed with like that, and then see the middle-aged people in 42nd Street paying money to see two people screw on stage. And that's why I went up to this Italian bouncer and says, "Io voglio lavorare, I would like to work." And he gave me a job, and from there on I started working
What
in
did you
live
do?
shows. I was a cameraman in a live show, then I managed a massage parlors for 8 months.
What did you do as manager of massage parlor?
What did I do? I managed a massage parlor. I took money from people.
How did you
And,
do it? Did you have to hawk out on the street?
Oh, in those days
Did you
they
go
had
out there with a breadboard in front of
In those
you?
days they had a price list on the wall. It says blowjobs
That's it?
$15, hand jobs $10, S&M $50. I didn't even know
Oh,
what
see,
half of the thing
nowadays
was.
that's like
That's right.
under the cover.
Of course.
Do you get a runoff when you're a manager of like that?
Runoff in terms of what?
Does
As
it
far
mean
as the girl, since
you take
know
benefits?
Oh yeah, I was also given the job of interviewing the girls. And if you remember back in 1970, they used to put ads in the Village Voice where it says "Figure models wanted," and the next day there'd be
That's what
5
it
girls. That's right. There'd be 5 girls at the door, and I would come in and I would say, "Please undress," which was terrific for me. I kept writing it all down, sending it to my friends in Switzerland, which probably nobody believed.
Did you have a
One
lot of
day
pen
Playboy
pals
came
there?
up. Oh yeah, Playboy came up and they did a spread called the Porno Girls. And this guy who did the photography says to me, "Do me a favor, just lay on the bed there for a second. I don't think you're going to be in, but we just need a guy, you know, for a backdrop, right?" And when Playboy came out 3 months later, there's my picture, man. I thought I made it. America, 6 months in America. I'm stark naked in Playboy. Right? I
Well,
write
how
home.
far
I tell
did
my
that
father. My
photo
father said,
get
"Don't
you?"
ever bring the fucking thing home."
You didn't send home a couple of copies to the
I
family?
sure did.
How many
Wonderful.
copies?
Just one copy. I says,
They
"Dad,
use
if
them for
you're in-"
placemats for the
Oh,
dog.
of course. And my father probably has it in the outhouse somewhere.
I
right?
was gonna say,
Since we're-
really.
Right.
How long
Look what
did you do
happened to
that?
Charles.
Oh, what was it? About 18 months. Was arrested twice.
For what?
Once for pimp because I took money from a cop, and once for obscenity because I was directing the live show.
For what? Obscenity.
You see,
okay.
you gotta. I didn't know anything. All I
Right.
know is I went upstairs and the guy says to me, "Here's a camera." I've never had a camera in my hand.
You
in my
didn't think
life.
it was a little lewd to photograph two people?
What I give a shit? They paid $75 a day. That
I
was
mean,
5
I say the
times
money's fine,
Oh,
but
it's
you know,
terrific.
but having made no money in Europe and coming here on $75 a day had to be a fucking fortune.
Oh, it was. That's why I stuck around and went back and forth to the Swiss restaurant, told these guys what I was doing. The next thing I knew, there was 400 Swiss, all in the live show going, "Yo, right? I'm doing my whole number there with these guys.
What goes on in a live show?
They had what was it, 2 couples. One of them were junkies. The other one was just like, kind of spaced out people, and they would come in 20 minutes before the show. And if you ever see it, there's like a bed, just like the one over there, and there's just a sheet over it.
There's a bed over there.
There's a bed,
audience,
folks, right over there.
Like
It has blue sheets, green, red. So it's terrific. It should have been made this morning, but it wasn't. And
Weldon had a good night last night.
yeah, definitely not Swiss, Sheldon.
They're always
not
neat.
Swiss.
That's what we hear about the Swiss.
Oh yeah, they rather
Big
fill out a form
cheese.
than have an orgasm. That's what Roman Gary said, right? Anyway, in the live show, I was just supposed to stand there, and the guy says to me, "Don't worry about it. We do everything ourselves. 69, 72, 84, upside down, hanging
Numbers
down,
we never
30
heard of.
feet, right? Things that you and I would never even want to try, because we've both been, excuse me. And I'd be filming there for 3 weeks. I didn't know there was no film in the camera. Right, so after the 3rd week, I had to wind the thing. It was like a 1930s camera, and Luigi, the guy outside, says, just talk to the people in the audience. I can't speak English. He says, do French, German, anything you want. So I do my whole rap and says, spread your legs, please, and there'd be like 5 rows of guys from Jersey, their sunglasses on, right? Newspapers over their head, checking out the scene while these 2 people are doing
Did they all wear raincoats, the guys in the audience?
Most of them, it seemed.
Ah.
I knew why the
I
New York
heard about
Times
those
sold so
guys.
well, because it's the only paper big enough to wrap around your head, right?
So you said you did a couple of things, games or what was it?
Yeah, that's like years later. My old lady and me, we designed a game while we were in Spain.
Did you meet your old lady? I don't like that phraseology, but since you refer to the woman that you're with as such, here, or had you known her in
I
Switzerland?
met her in Switzerland. I met her on the slopes.
She's Swiss as well?
No, she's from America.
Okay.
And we came back. What we did is we went to Spain. We designed a game, which 6 years ago the world wasn't ready for, because Vietnam was still going on.
So
we
what
made
was
a
the
game
name
called
of the game?
Anarchy, a revolting game.
Sex Pistols should have heard about you.
Right, you see, and it was packaged in a bomb, said Anarchy on it, with the, what do you call the,
Flap?
Thing you light for the bomb to go with the fuse on it, right? And inside was a package of the world, right? It was like a political monopoly, and we had like Beirut, Lebanon, we had Beirut, the White House, Kremlin, Peking, 3 main powers.
All
Then
the
we had the
capitals.
Catholic, we had Vatican City, Mecca City, Jerusalem. We
Is
had
this patent?
Oh yeah, it was all patent. But I tell you why it didn't sell. Then we had the oil countries. Then we had the United Nations, the munitions depot, the warfare laboratory. And the way you started the game was everybody could pick a terrorist. We had 6 terrorists, all right? You pick a terrorist, you pick a terrorist, and I give you like a monopoly. Instead of 500 francs, I give you 500 POWs, which was a picture of a POW behind the bar, and it says, "In God we trust," with 2 S, all right? Okay? And I give you 500 POWs, and we start the game. You advance to 5. Let's say you land on the White House. The White House would cost you 400 POWs because it's a major power. So you pay 400 POWs to the bank, which was known as the refugee camp. Okay? See? Then you go around. Once you own the block, like in Monopoly, you can improve it with hotels and houses.
Right.
If you own the
Stop
block
buying
of, let's say,
property.
Peking, White House, and the Kremlin, you could buy bombers from the refugee camp. You could put on bombers and these things. Those are little tools, bombers. And once you had 3 bombers in each block, you could increase them with machine guns. And once you had machine guns, man, if you landed there, it cost you something like 20,000 POWs. And the way, the whole idea of the game was to take over the whole world. Now in Monopoly, they have chance and what is it, community chest?
Yeah.
Right.
We had a newsstand. And what we did for 6 months, we collected all the crazy stories out of all the newspapers around the world. And we had the actual newspaper heads, like New York Times. We had it printed onto it, made like a small newspaper. In the back, we would have like funny little things written on, like I forgot what the things we wrote in the back. Little news items that we made jokes out of it, and exchange them with POWs, etc., etc. And the object of the game was to take over the world.
Right. Which power was going to be the most successful?
Exactly.
Right.
And
So why didn't you make it?
Because everywhere we went, guys, it's POWs, man. What are you, crazy? There's
Can't
10,000
deal in
POWs
people
in
like
Vietnam.
that.
I says, for starters, you're wrong. There's 522 POWs in Vietnam right now. Guy Parker brother told me that, which amazed me too, because
How did
Europeans
he
are a
know?
lot more aware politically,
Right.
I feel, than the average American here.
How many companies did you go to with this idea?
Oh, we went to, I think, 4 or 5 different companies. We went to the guy, Urban System, who did The Godfather. Remember The Godfather game in a violin case?
Right, right.
Okay. Well, he flipped for it. He wanted to do it right away, but then they caught him stealing money, and he was out of the picture.
What
So-
did
always
Parker
the
Brothers
case.
say?
Parker Brothers says POWs, we can't touch POWs yet, etc., etc. You know
Didn't
what?
they
It's a
ask
game that's
you
gonna
to
come out.
adapt the POWs to, find
yeah,
something
but
else?
I'm
But you couldn't
stubborn.
do
I
that.
don't give in to that.
Right.
I want that game maybe in 1972 when they revived the 70s. Then we can put the game out.
Okay, so you lost your opportunity then because of your stubbornness. How have you progressed? I mean, what have you done? It's 1978. I'm sure you're still interested in being a commercial success.
Oh yeah, I'm interested in being filthy rich. That's really the truth. Yeah.
Well, what do
Terrible
you want to
capitalist,
do now?
What do I want to do
is
now?
it
Well,
still
right
games or is
no,
it what?
right now I'm working on, I told you I'm moving furniture. I'm trying to
Right.
sell
Well, that's,
a script about
lucrative
moving. We're doing a book
money.
about my 18 months in America in the massage parlor business.
You're doing a
Which
book.
we've just
yeah,
heard a little
it's
of.
called Off the Books. Because everything I did for 18
You
months,
never get
all I
paid
ever heard
for
was
it,
off
right.
the books,
Off-
off the books,
right.
cash. I figured it'd be a good title. The first one we had was Adventure of an Illegal Alien, but then the Doubleday in Viking Press said that was too heavy. People wouldn't like me for that.
They've already
Why?
accepted the idea. You're just polishing it up.
It's a long story. What's happened is we have two people
We don't have
interested
time
right
for a
now.
long story,
Yeah,
so
no,
you can
that's-
condense it.
Thank you, darling. We also did a great Nixon thing, which never was on the air. Do you remember when, long before Nixon got caught up in Watergate, I'm into politics a lot. I read the papers, I get off on it.
Well, I like to
Some
hear
guy-
Europeans' idea.
Right, and well, I'll tell you.
American
Remember the guy who
politics.
put Nixon on a roll of toilet paper? It's sold
Right.
in the novelty shop. That's
Yes.
the same son of a bitch that I mailed my idea to, and the only reason why I put it on is because he couldn't rip us off. I had a much funnier thing. I sent him a picture of Nixon, which my girlfriend did. She does beautiful cartooning work. And we wrote underneath, I want to make one thing perfectly clean. Right? That would have been great. I sent it to this jerk. And instead of going in with me, 50-50 even, right? He had the tools and the machinery to make it. He ripped me off.
So
And he just
how,
put the head on.
after being ripped off time and again, how are you protecting yourself now after years of finding yourself that you're the idea man and somehow you're being sapped for your,
I take 5
originality?
Valiums a day.
But it doesn't seem to help. My God, I'm speaking to a live wire.
Oh, it'll happen, you know. It's like every time you talk to a guy, they talk about Sylvester Stallone, bang, bang, made like that. That's bullshit.
But
You
he
just
didn't
gotta
make
pay
it
your
like
dues.
that. He worked for
Right.
it. I mean,
So I'm working for it. I figured I'd do 10 years apprenticeship, and somebody told me that in New York you gotta get fucked for 10 years before
Okay.
you get there.
But is there
So I got a year
one
to
thing
go.
that you're more interested in attaining a success with? I mean, you've done games, you've done massage parlors, you've done script writing. Acting obviously could be,
From this
yeah.
program, exactly.
As I'm listening
This
to
could be
you,
a
for
Hear me,
sure.
folks, pick
This
me up.
is definitely a
475,
main line.
1689.
Okay,
Yes.
this is a main line for you to
Right.
attempt. I mean, what do you want to hit upon next?
What would I hit upon? I think I want to run for Secretary of State in 1984.
We need one.
Because I think I can. My accent is better than Henry Kissinger's, and I think I know just about as many people.
But
in
you are
Europe.
much better looking.
And I'm much better looking.
If you haven't
That's your
noticed,
profile.
See
he
that?
told us he was cute at 20, but
Right?
he's
I mean,
not bad
Ollie,
now.
watch out.
What parts of the city have you lived in?
Oh, everywhere, everywhere.
Yeah,
First
but-
in night in Central Park, then very upper class Park Avenue apartment, then the Bowery for 3 weeks, and then now I'm sort of in a high-rise building again,
And where do you live now?
on a high-rise building.
Ew.
Is that what you want to live
No,
in?
no, I would like to live in a loft.
A loft,
Yeah.
is that what you're saying?
Yes, I do.
L-O-F-T.
Have you
as
been
in
looking?
Soho.
Do you care?
No, not right now. Right now, all I need is I want my place to hang out where I can do my thing, listen to my music, and I figure. You see, I'm very hard on myself. I gave myself to 26 till I make my first million. Obviously, that didn't happen. Actually,
how
it did,
old
but I
are you
gave it
now?
away. I sent it all to Bangladesh.
Or maybe
So-
we shouldn't date you
Nice
by answer.
person.
All right? Yeah, I mean, you
Him
remember
and
the
George
Bangladesh-
Harrison went a long way, right?
Sure. The people always call me up to help all these organizations, and I just, all my tips for moving go to organizations for that sort of thing.
When was the
So, I
last
don't
time you were
believe him.
home?
Last time I was home was 7 years ago, and now that I got my green card, I expect to make a trip home on Christmas.
Now you can travel as frequently,
Yes.
right?
I
as
can
you
now
wish.
spit on the sidewalk in New York City, and if
Not
I'm
care,
arrested,
right?
it's a wonderful
mark on
feeling.
your
I did
license.
it all Wednesday. I just walked up and down 3rd Avenue doing nothing.
Trying to get arrested?
Throw rocks, yes, it was terrific.
What is that green card? What is that? I don't even know what it is.
Actually, it's blue. And it means that...
Oh, they did change colors. It always
yes,
was green, wasn't
it used to be green, yes. Now it's blue. What it means is that you pay about $2,000 to some lawyer who represents about 400 Indians, Bengalis, and Pakistanis, rips them off for $2,000, that he can do all the paperwork for you, which I found out now that I could have done it myself. And then you have that paper, and then you start paying taxes like everybody else, and you can work, and you can open your business, which I'm planning to do. But it's illegal alien is a very hard thing to do. A lot of people, you know, I mean, there's like, what, 1 million illegal aliens in this
Did you have
town.
to take a test? Did you have to
Well, they
learn?
screen you pretty thorough. You know, they interview my wife, then they interview me in 2 separate rooms, and they ask me, when's the last time you made love? When's the
Did
last
they
time you, what's
really
color of
do
your
that?
refrigerator?
Oh, right, I've heard about that.
Oh,
they
what a
interview
trick.
both of them to make sure
Right?
it's
It's not just a
official.
marriage of convenience,
And you
because
see, and I
they
make-
don't
and I
want to
make
know
up
about it,
stories.
although that's how a lot
Right.
of people make it into this country.
Yeah,
which
right.
And I
is
make up stories
Very
habitually.
good.
So when I got in, my wife was freaking out. And the
Wait,
other
you
said,
mean
"Charles,
all
don't-
this
whatever
time
they're
we've
gonna
been
ask you."
spending with you might not be laying it on the line with me?
Oh, definitely not. I may not be illegal at all. I
Well,
may
as
be
long as you're
related to the
entertaining,
Rothschilds.
I don't care.
You know, I mean, I do like wine, and I mean, I can't give it away on the air here that I was living illegal for 8 years, right? Right.
No.
So, you know, I could
Believe
have
me.
somebody knocking on my door tomorrow, and I have proof that I do have other interests.
Right. Well, that's good.
You know.
Have
'Cause
you
you're
recommended
covered.
that your family come over here and make out as well as you have?
No, we don't get along, my family and me. First of all, my father is bald, and I hate that because I'm going bald. All right, so that's number one. All right, and number two, he's way too Swiss. You see, the Swiss are very, very strange.
Well, what is
folk. You-
Swiss? My idea of Swiss is either a tinker or someone that deals with.
I didn't say that.
Go ahead, go
I
ahead.
didn't say
No,
that.
you're right. Yeah, but you see,
I mean,
Wait a minute. His name's Geppetto.
At the
Is that
drilling
what
the
you said?
holes out of Swiss
right,
cheese
right.
or what?
No, oh no, they don't drill them.
No.
Do you want to know how they make holes in Swiss cheese?
Yeah.
Please
Do
do
you
tell
really
me.
want to know?
Yeah.
Mice
No, I won't
crawl
tell you because
through
you
them.
never eat it again. There's a lot of lonely farmers up in the mountains. Let me tell you, when that's the truth. The average Swiss gets up at 6 o'clock in the morning. He works to 6 o'clock at night. You can home, and you better have your shower before 10 o'clock because after 10 o'clock you're not allowed to put on the hot water anymore. So God help you if you have to Madrid. So the turistas after 10 o'clock you can't even flush till the morning. That's a true story. You see.
It's good to know when I
where
get
you-
there.
Yeah. You won't catch it.
When I
there.
am investing all my millions in the Swiss banks.
Really?
Well,
hard
it's
to
not
invest
going to be
right now.
momentarily,
It's very hard
but
to invest now. You have to be
proceed.
Arabs, or you have to be with the mob, or you have to be associated with Nixon. That's why when 4 years ago, when Nixon was still president, or 5 years ago, and he told the Swiss government to open the secrecy bank laws, the Swiss answer was, do you really want that? Because if you do that, then Bibi Rebozo and you will be in a lot of trouble, you see.
Ah.
All right?
If you had to recommend some way of succeeding, we'll say as if you have succeeded, or going
In
along
New
that
York.
direction.
Oh, I feel
New
I
York.
have.
Okay. What would you say to new people coming? You know, would you say to feel it out like you have? Or
In
would you
20
have
words
some-
or less.
In
What
20
do you
words or
think?
less, well, I'd tell him to definitely not use my lawyer for a green card because that would cost too much money. Then I would tell him to stay where they are, send their brother over first, make him work for a company, send back the dollars till he gets the experience, then come over and work and make all the bucks.
Well, Charles,
That'd be all
thanks
right.
a lot.
Thank you very much.
Really,
Thank
we
you.
enjoyed
Your
it.
You're
time.
terrific. I wish you the best of luck. And if any of you have time, please go down to this gallery art show next, when is the date here?
It's over Thursday.
Ward Ness Gallery in 131 Prince Street. I don't know what it is, but it looks terrific.
Okay, correct.
Bravo, Charles. You were wonderful.
Yeah, all right. Taxi!
Woo! All right. You got a fucking motor mouth like I never heard. I love it. I didn't even have to think for you.